As a sex educator, a comedian, and baby mama, I was invited to talk to you all today, and I consider it an honor, a privilege, and a responsibility to have this talk with you all.
A sex educator, comedian, and baby mama. So, I guess that sex educator part came after your unplanned pregnancy? But a comedian, you say? Well, then I'm sure that this will be hilarious.
But before I begin, I think it would be absolutely remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge the fact that they asked me to stand on a red dot and not make a period joke.
So TEDx specifically asked you not to make a period joke. Do they make all of their speakers promise not to do that? Oh, was that meant to be a joke? Oh. Ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha?
Let it flow. But what I want to talk to you about today is actually a serious topic, and that is Me Too.
Ah, yes. Hashtag Me Too. This is totally serious, guys.
That's a movement that we're all familiar with across America, where 1 in 5 American women are experiencing rape or attempted rape in the course of their lifetime. Those odds actually go up to 1 in 4 if you go to college.
The 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 claim? Really? Really? Okay, well, allow me to retort. And by me, I mean someone who knows about this stuff much more than I do.
Myth number 1. 1 in 5 college women are raped or sexually assaulted. This claim has been repeated over and over by journalists, political leaders. It's been said so many times it's almost beyond the reach of rational analysis. Well, as I and many others have said, the figure is wrong, and now there's new data just released last month from the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics that gives us a much more reliable estimate. The 1 in 5 claim is based on a 2007 internet study with vaguely worded questions, a low response rate, and a non-representative sample. And other studies with similar findings have used the same faulty methods. The real number, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, is 1 in 53. That's too many, but it's a long way from 1 in 5. Now, does that mean that sexual assault's not a problem on campus? Of course not. Too many women are victimized. But it's not an epidemic, and it's not a culture. An exaggeration and hysteria, they shed no light, they produce no solutions. They actually distract from a real problem.
1 in 33 men experience this type of assault as well. This is a violent problem in our society, and people are joking about it, particularly in stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedians making jokes about terrible things. So, stand-up comedians should only make jokes about pleasant things. Got it.
So I want to talk about the pyramid of hate. As you can see, at the top of this pyramid is genocide. I think we can all agree that genocide is the ultimate form of hate.
Well, I don't know. I might have put intentionally destroying a beloved franchise and mythos in one fell swoop, a notch or two above that. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I making light of genocide? Golly, it's almost like I was joking.
But if you notice right under that, the second highest tier of the pyramid of hate is rape, is assault, is terrorism.
The Pyramid of Hate. Sounds like an Indiana Jones adventure. Oops, there I go making jokes about serious things again. Well, let's take a quick look at this pyramid. Genocide, right. Violence, okay. Discrimination and then prejudice. Well, those two things are somewhat synonymous, even by definition. I'm not sure why you'd separate them out, but whatever. And finally, bias. Accepting stereotypes, not challenging jokes. So, not challenging jokes is a form of bias. I wonder how our speaker handles hecklers at her comedy shows then. Does she just step back and allow them to put her in her place? Or does she rail against their honorable attempts to oppose bias? I would really be curious to know the answer to that question.
And it starts with jokes. It starts with letting in negative information, not interrupting that, maybe even telling bad jokes.
The path to genocide begins with telling bad jokes. But that means...
But before I begin, I think it would be absolutely remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge the fact that they asked me to stand on a red dot and not make a period joke.
Oh my God! We're all gonna die!
In 2012, Daniel Tosh, you might know him from a show called Tosh.0. He was at an open mic. Open mics are where comedians go for batting practice to get better at their jokes. They're often really bad jokes at that point. He told a bad rape joke, and a woman on the front row said something. She was a survivor, she was hurt, she was offended, and she stood up and she said, "This isn't funny, I'm leaving." And then Daniel Tosh proceeded to say, "Wouldn't it be really hilarious if she got gang raped right now in front of all of us?"
So, because that woman chose to be offended, and then chose to interrupt Tosh's performance that the rest of the audience paid to enjoy, Daniel Tosh owes that woman his respect. Also, Daniel Tosh actually supported the idea of that woman being gang raped. He was not joking. Got it.
That was 2012. So there are bad rape jokes. We hear them all the time, but I want to say there are also good rape jokes, which is sort of a weird thing to say, I know.
Sort of a weird thing to say. After you just admonished us all that
this is a violent problem in our society, and people are joking about it, particularly in stand-up comedy.
Well, all right. Tell us a good rape joke. And then, please tell us who gets to decide what is and is not a bad rape joke. Because I am painfully curious to know whose moral authority gets to pre-approve jokes on your planet.
But that's our job as comedians, is to put a mirror up to society and stimulate discourse and talk about difficult things and maybe make you laugh if we're good at it.
Just not difficult things like rape. Well, unless they are good jokes about rape. But yes, comedians are at their best when they hold our speaker's personally approved mirror up to society, but no one else's. Got it. Anyway, sorry, you were saying something about a good rape joke?
There's a local comedian, his name is Eric Moore. He tells a joke and it goes something like this. "Are you guys ready to hear my rape joke? Well, I'm gonna tell it anyway, whether you like it or not. That's my rape joke."
That is your example of a good rape joke. Got it.
That's his joke, not mine, but you see what he did there? He put a light on a problem, which is consent. In the absence of no, we assume yes, and that's a problem.
The people in the audience paid to see a comedy show. They consented to watching comedy be performed. So, I must be missing something. Yes, there. Take a deep breath. I know that all of this emotional labor is very taxing for you.
In 2016, Donald Trump made comments on the campaign trail where he said you can't rape your spouse. This is a common myth that women don't have rights to their own body in marriage.
Donald Trump never said that. The very article you are showing there says so. It was his now disgraced attorney, Michael Cohen, who made those comments. And Trump almost immediately distanced himself from them after they were said by Michael Cohen. So, you are a liar. Got it.
There's another local comedian who tells a joke, and his joke goes something like this. I accidentally called my wife the wrong name while I was making love to her the other night. I'm glad she was sleeping.
Okay, so was that a good rape joke or a bad rape joke? Am I supposed to appreciate that joke or be horrified by it? Please do tell me how I am to think.
Cringeworthy, absolutely. And me, as a comedian who's about to go on stage and follow that, is very triggered because me too. I too was married. Me too. I woke up while my spouse was perpetrating me. It's not funny.
You are right. Marital rape is not funny. Jokes about marital rape, however, can be funny. It is all in the delivery. And a joke about marital rape does not constitute marital rape. And laughing at a joke about marital rape does not constitute an endorsement of marital rape. It is a wonder any of that would need to be explained to a professional comedian. Because otherwise, why risk ever making a joke on any subject on the chance that someone, somewhere, might be triggered?
It starts with jokes. Jokes lead to violent acts.
They do? So, aren't you promoting violence simply by being a comedian? Why aren't you stopping yourself from doing such terrible things?
We know this from comedians like Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby committed sexual violence because of jokes. Not because he was a sexual predator, a behavior that does not require a sense of humor to enact, but because of jokes. Got it.
Louis C.K.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who did Louis C.K. assault again? He jerked off with the consent of the other participants. So, well, I guess he assaulted himself. But what did his jokes have to do with any of that? And who did he harm?
They told jokes, and they also engaged in violent acts like rape and assault.
Who did Louis C.K. rape? Who did he assault? What are you talking about? Oh, unless this is one of your jokes? Is that it?
and that is equal to terrorism on the pyramid of hate. Domestic terrorism is something that we're all trying to fight in this country, and 20% of women are experiencing rape or attempted rape. If that were the flu, we'd be doing more to stop it.
So, bad jokes lead to sexual assault, which is the same as domestic terrorism, and we don't do anything about sexual assault or domestic terrorism because neither of them are the flu. Okay, what are you talking about?
We can do more to stop this, and we can take that pyramid of hate and we can flip it on its head, and we can do something and engage in something called bystander intervention.
Bystander intervention. Well, why not just call it what it is? Tone policing.
It's really simple. You've seen it in New York in subways to fight domestic terrorism, and it's if you see something, say something. Right?
Right?
The idea is right there. If you see something, hear something, notice something, you become aware, you are now a responsible bystander because you know about it. But we often don't assume responsibility. We often look away and we say, that's not my problem. That's their problem.
Or perhaps because mere jokes are not a problem in the first place? Maybe.
If it were the flu, we'd be doing more to stop it. It's all of our problem. And so you might not know how to get involved. So people are afraid for their safety, which is maybe why they don't walk up and say, "Excuse me, sir, I think you might be a rapist."
If you see something, say something. So if you're approaching someone and saying, "Excuse me, sir, but you might be a rapist," is it because you just saw them raping someone? Or, what?
You could be that direct, but you could also take a picture, you could make a phone call, you could create a distraction and say, "I think you're getting towed, man," right?
Right?
I just, what? You're trying to distract a rapist while they are raping someone? Or I have absolutely no idea what she is saying right now.
There's a lot of ways to get involved, but the important thing is that you do get involved and you say something or do something and take action.
Maybe I could distract him by telling a joke?
So we can take that Me Too movement and we can flip it on its head. And instead of 20% of survivors being able to say "Me Too," we could flip that. And the other 80% of us could get involved and say "We too." We did something. We said something.
Yes, we said something. So long as it wasn't a bad joke about rape, but rather a good joke about rape, because bad jokes lead to sexual assault, and we must only tell good jokes as determined by our speaker. Got it.
So this talk is about ideas worth spreading, and this is a really simple one that I want you to take home today. If you see something, say something. It's that simple. So I'm going to be a hokey sex ed teacher right now and make you guys do a call and response and repeat after me. If you see something,
say something.
It's all about the greater good.
The greater good.
That's pretty good. I think you can do better. I think we can all do better. If you see something,
make a YouTube video about it. Oh, was that not the correct response? I guess I'm not a very good bystander. And hey, if you want to stand up in an auditorium and tell comedians what they can or cannot say, or tell them to their face that their jokes are bad because you've taken offense, that's all fine and good. Just please stop calling yourself a comedian and embrace your role as just one more heckler. As always, thank you for watching. Whether you liked it or not.